Good evening and welcome to the regularly scheduled August the 18th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting at the Great Hall, second floor, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Massachusetts, America's hometown. We are quite busy this evening and we're going to try and move these along as quickly as we can. We have 5 cases to dispose of this evening. The very first one will be case 4161 and it's a withdrawal. Would the clerk please read the correspondence?
I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one. Is this the one here?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, my name is Norm Stillman and I live at 79 Naughty Pines Road in Plymouth. Over the past few months, you've been helping me navigate the process of securing approval for a garage at my place of residence. I appreciate your efforts on my behalf and the advice you have given me along the way. At this time, I'd like to request a withdrawal of my plea without prejudice. Thank you very much for the time you spent on my project and for your service to our town. I appreciate you all. Most sincerely, Norm Stillman.
Thank you. I await a motion.
Yes, I'll motion to allow withdrawal of case number 4161 without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion to withdraw without prejudice and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Moving to the next case will be case number 4175, Paul and Brenda Trapani at 81 Elbow Pond Lane. I would ask the clerk to read the legal advertisement, and I believe it's on page 119.
Yes, case number 4175. The Plymouth Zoning Board of Appeals on the zoning bylaw will hold a public hearing in the Great Hall, Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Mass. On Monday, August 18, 2025 at 6 p.m. to hear the petition of Paul and Brenda Trapani requesting a special permit required per section 2031C and per section 2052 RR dimensional table to waive the required side setback and principal building separation to construct a detached garage modified 7925 on the property of 81 Elbow Pond Lane, shown as parcel 059-000-038-015 of the assessor's map dated January 1, 2024 in an RR zone. The petitioner or his or her representative or any other person interested in desiring to be heard on this request should appear at the time and place designated.
Thank you. Seated on this case will be Mr. Leary, Mr. O'Reilly, Mr. Conroy, and Mr. Connor, and myself. Who will be representing? Please come to the microphone and make sure the green button is on.
Green button is on. Good evening.
Yes, thank you.
Hey there, I'm Brenda Trapani. I'm here to request a permit to build a detached garage at our home, Elbow Pond Lane. We're newer to Plymouth. We've looked down here for 6 or 7 years for a home, found a beautiful home at Camp Massasoit, or the former camp. We are looking to build a garage that's 14 feet wide by 24 feet deep, detached. It's going to match the same siding that's on our home. If you take a look at our property map, this is the only location where we can put this garage, because on the other side we have utilities. If you take a look there, we have a gas line and our electric line comes in on that side. And I think we'd have the same exact issue with setbacks. So we are asking for the setback to be reduced from 10 feet from the adjacent property to 5. The adjacent property is open space, and the HOA that owns that land has no issue with that, and we've submitted a letter, and one of our neighbors and part of the HOA is here with us too, if you wish them to speak on their behalf. A couple of things to note. We're going to put this on a concrete pad. In order to handle the drainage, we're going to put 18 inches of rock all the way around the garage. And we're also going to put silt socks along the side of the property to also contain any kind of drainage, but the drainage should stay right on our land. The grading is on the current plan. If you look at it, the garage is right about, the front of the garage will be around 64 feet and the back will be 62, so it'll be a slight grade of like 2 feet. And that kind of concludes what I have to say. If anyone has any questions, let me know.
No board members? Questions? Yes.
My only comment, Mr. Chairman, to the applicant is, there's almost a 5-foot drop from the front of the garage to the back, and the contours are going down toward that open space. When I looked at the proposal for roof drainage, on one side, creating a drainage swale would be fine because it can connect to other stone areas. But the property side of the garage, there's kind of nowhere for the water to go off of the roof except into the adjacent land. So I would suggest, at least on one side, consider having a dry well, because that back corner is going to be sticking up in the air, and the grades, you also saw this in the pictures as well. There's a bit of drainage heading down and to the left. So I think the right side's fine. The left side, I would just suggest a dry well. That's my only comment. Otherwise, it's a good package that's been submitted, and the support from the HOA nearby.
Which, I was going to make a comment about that HOA. I would cherish that document. I would never let that out of your hands. I'm serious.
Thank you. I will.
Did you read the conditions, David?
Yes, I did. And that's where they proposed to deal with it.
I see that right here in conditions 2. Actually, condition 1 in C, in italics, they talk about that. And yet I'm sure that that's going to be addressed. Jason won't let that go. Any other board members?
Yeah.
Michael?
Well, I had the same concern David did, but my question was, so why haven't you considered gutters into drains on the building, on the garage?
Why haven't I considered that? I just figured, frankly, I'll be frank, I thought this would be an easy project. I figured our last garage shed had the rocks around it, and that helped to absorb any rainwater that came off the building.
Where it is so close to the side lot, even though it doesn't look to me like, what do they use that? What is that, just a easement for drainage on the inside?
It's an easement for drainage. I do have the as-built for the drainage
Yeah,
pipe, but I'm not sure that you'll be able to see it, and I don't have it on an overhead. But it is drainage there for the neighborhood. It comes down the street and takes everything from the sewers and takes it through this area that's adjacent to us.
But your property seems to slope the opposite way out to the front or back of yours. So that's why I was thinking the same thing. I was just curious why you hadn't considered just putting gutters on and putting because actually you can put in cheap drains, as far as the system underneath it. They're fairly small, like a 50-gallon drum or a 35-gallon drum, you know what I mean? You buy them.
I mean, that's entirely, possible. We don't have a problem with putting those on there if that makes
Yeah, I'm
the
just saying it
most.
might make it better, but whatever, they can, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board members? Have you any other thing you would like to add at this point?
No, just thank you for your time for
Okay,
reviewing it. I
well-
appreciate that.
I'm going to open this to public comment, okay? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak either in favor or opposition? Yes, please, come to the podium and identify yourself.
My name is Gary Friedman. I live at 80 Elbow Pond Lane. I'm across the street from them. I was the one who signed the homeowners association letter saying, yes, we approve of this variation. Our main concern is, will it make the neighborhood look ugly? And the answer is no. They plan to match everything. We're very much in favor of it.
Thank you. When I went there today, I used the GPS in my truck, and I was confused because there's another 80 on the corner there.
Let's talk about that.
Easy to get lost.
It was confusing for a few minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment
I'll
and bring
just,
it back to,
pardon, I do want to add, you know, our current garage is 20 by 20 feet, and my husband's truck is 19 feet deep. So this is one of the reasons why, you know, we're looking to do this, and we're looking to offload some of our garage, we'll call it stuff. It's full. We can't even park our cars in there. So I just add that. Thank you.
board members, anything? Okay. If you have nothing else, we'll go right into a decision for this. Well, wait a minute. We want to look at conditions first. And I was out there today and looked at it, and I know what you're talking about the elevation change, but it's a gradual one, really. And it's not something that somebody can fall off of.
It's just,
Yeah,
that's where the water will go, because
yes.
the hill
So,
slopes down.
I'm sure that they're gonna be able to deal with that satisfactorily. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Michael,
Yes.
so what do we do with this note under C?
We're gonna not make that a note. We're gonna incorporate
Oh,
that as a
okay.
condition.
Okay, fine.
All right, at
Got
least
it.
I would like to,
Yeah, I agree, yeah,
incorporate that as an actual condition.
okay. Got it.
Ed, do you agree with that?
It's fine.
Okay, I await a motion. You, before you do that, what we did just now is we are gonna make, if you look at the planning board's report, and under the conditions, under 1C, there's an italic note there about the drainage, about the roof drains. And we're gonna incorporate that and make that not a suggestion, but an actual condition. That portion of that. C, yes. So,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve case number 4175 with the 4 conditions listed.
narrow that down, Michael. I want that portion of the notation to become a
Under C, 1C.
yes.
Uh,
C with the note.
Right.
That note, I want.
But if that's, it is in the condition.
Mhm.
So I mean, do we need to,
It is in the conditions.
yeah. So it's under conditions, that's what I
Yes.
say, so if we
But
approve.
it's a note, and I wanted the note to make sure that it's not a note, a suggestion, but an actual condition.
Okay, so the 4 conditions is listed with the change of paragraph C, right?
Mm-hmm.
full,
Include.
yeah, included.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for case number 41. In case number 4175, with 4 conditions as written in the planning board's report. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Enjoy your garage. Okay. Moving right along, we are going to do case number 4176. And,
No, so, aren't you going to Old Pond?
oh, yes,
So it's,
case 4170, it was both 4176, 3182, and we're going to use the, case number 3182 was the original case for Colony Place, and this is a modification of that. So there was no legal advertisement, there was no need of one. So I will ask, who is presenting, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the zoning board, Attorney Michael Ford from Howard, Massachusetts, on the other side of the bridge, together with site engineer, Mr. King from Atlantic Design. Atlantic Design has been the site engineers for this project since its inception. And my client is here, Mr. Joe Laham. Mr. Laham owns the site. He also owns the Volvo site next door.
Okay.
And is proposed to be the owner of this franchise as well.
Before we move along, I need to seat some people. And so seated on this will be Mr. Leary, Mr. O'Reilly, Mr. Conroy, and Mr. Connor, and myself. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Thank you. This is a bit of a hybrid that we're before you on. Reading the prior decisions of the board from 2006 and then 2013, we're not really here for a special permit or for a modification. We're here for a finding, as I read your prior decisions, that this proposal, under the phasing conditions of the prior permit 3182, is substantially in compliance with that particular permit. That was the language that I found, and a majority of your board has to find positively on that particular question in order for this to be approved. That's the language in the permit. With that said, 3182, of course, was the original permit. If I said 2006, I was incorrect. It was 2003, Mr. Chairman, for the entire plaza. And when the initial phasing plan was set up in 3182, this site, along with the other 2 dealerships, was a site that was labeled for 130,000 square feet of retail. And then in 2013, upon a special permit, an additional special permit, the Board of Appeals changed the use of that particular section of the property from retail to the 3 automobile dealerships, capping it at a total of 90,000 square feet for the 3, and approved them with the caveat that each dealership, once they were identified and plans were done, had to come back through the process outlined in the 2 conditions under 3182 for a phasing and a finding by the Board of Appeals that, in fact, they were substantially in compliance with the original special permit. So 2 of those dealerships have been built. There's a Volvo dealership that's been built, and there's a Jeep dealership that's been built. So they're 2/3 of the way there. And those have been brought forward as dealerships were identified and the business plans were put in place for them to come forward. So this is the last one, the third one, a little bit about this one. This will have a total building footprint of 18,831 square feet. They were all limited to 30,000, so it'll be well under that. Gross floor area of this building is 24,793. And the new total of all 3 dealerships, if this one is approved as being substantially in compliance, is a little under 77,000 square feet, or 76,689. In accordance with the conditions in the original special permit, particularly condition number 1, we had to seek comments of all of the departments, including the planning board, town engineer, fire department, public works, and design review board, and give them an opportunity to give this board comments before you made your finding as to whether this was substantially in compliance. So to that end, we have been working with your planning director in facilitating and getting all of the information in. All of our plans were in, I think, back around July 10th, and all of the various comments finally came in towards the end of July. The DPW engineering comments were the last ones, and those, as they usually are in something of this nature, like a dealership that involves infrastructure, were the most detailed comments. Atlantic gave a response to the engineering comments to show how we were in compliance or would be in compliance at the time of the occupancy permit on all the various issues that were raised by DPW. We think those comments have been answered. We did get a note, Mr. Chairman, from DPW that they hadn't had an opportunity yet to address our response, or Atlantic's response, to the comments that they made initially. That said, we appeared before the planning board last Wednesday evening, and the planning board, in the report that you have in front of you, found that we had met all of the requirements from their vantage point to get a finding of substantially in compliance. And their particular report was conditional in that they suggested to your board, recognizing it's your board that actually makes the decision, but they gave a recommendation that to allow the construction of the dealership and repair facility, but with 3 conditions. And those conditions were that, 1, we apply for an MLC certificate and submit it to the building commissioner. That's pretty standard in any situation where you're applying for a building permit. We understand that. And 2, that the issuance of the building permit and the plan shall be revised to substantially address any applicable comments by the town engineering and fire department to the satisfaction of the building commissioner. And we don't have any problem with that one either. And then finally, from the water division, under the water balance program, that we complete a water balance program application, file it and get it approved, and obviously pay the fees that result from filing that water balance program application. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, we're happy to go through the plan set if that's what the board would like. Mr. King can walk you through that if that's where your board wants to go. I guess I just need a little direction from you. This is kind of a different hearing than I'm used to. Usually it's either a variance or a special permit or an appeal of a inspector's decision or something, and this is a little different, this substantial compliance test. So whatever you would like.
We're different.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the board, do you have any preliminary questions, board members? Yes, please, Peter.
I don't mind what you do with parking spaces for your own vehicles over there. But I do mind customer spaces that aren't 10 feet wide.
There will be none.
10 is, what is it, 10 by 18? We got it,
Yes.
right? 10 by 18 is what we require for those, and yours are all 9 feet. So that's an issue for me.
Maybe I can have Brett.
Or someone had tipped them off.
These are customer spaces, Brett.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin King. I'm with Atlantic Design Engineers. I was the designing engineer on this project here. Sorry, I don't have my full-size plan up here, but we do have 10 by 18 spaces for the proposed spaces. What it was there's a few existing 9 by 18 spaces that are already on site, and we show them. We markate them as customer parking spaces, but that doesn't mean that they're new spacing.
We have 30 of them?
Before we get too deep into this, I'm going to explain to you that unless there is an absolute necessity for a parking space to be 9 by 18, and necessity meaning there is no available space at all, then all parking spaces will be 10 by 18. And we expect all parking spaces in that place to be 10 by 18. You don't need any 9 by 18 spaces. We just made a 40B do that. We made the hospital do that. You know,
They're gonna be 10 by 18. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it.
I worry about it. I
We'll
want to
fix
see,
it. We'll
okay,
fix
I
it.
want to see it on the blueprint.
We'll get it to you. We'll amend it.
I don't know. Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, understood, and plans will be changed accordingly.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I have one question. So how much of the parking lot are you actually going to disturb? I mean, basically, you're just cutting a hole in it and putting a building, right?
Right, it was paved, yes,
Yeah,
correct.
I mean, they're not going to fill up the whole parking lot,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Have you done anything also towards the water balance plan yet?
The water balance plan, as I understand it, will be at the time of the building permit. We've talked to the water department, and they said when you come in for your building permit, fill out the water balance plan application, and that's when it gets done. And so that's a condition that the planning board
Yeah, I saw-
recommended that you place in your approval.
Right, I did see that. Okay, I guess I'm all set. He's got everything else in the original permit.
Okay. Anybody? All set? All set? David, anything? Yes, please.
A couple things. First of all, it talks about BMW motorcycles, but the building clearly takes care of motorcycles and regular vehicles. Is it all kinds of vehicles, or just BMWs or Jeeps? I'm just curious about the use of the building.
Let me see if I can get your response to that. The repair portion of the building, Ms. Cohan? Both BMW cars and motorcycles? Yeah. The repair portion, BMW cars and motorcycles.
Okay, because the plan looks like it's both motorcycles and cars, even though the title was that. I don't see snow storage on the site. We usually look for that to be identified where you're going to put snow. Is it there and I missed it, or don't you have it yet? Okay, so it's not there yet, but it'll go on the plans.
We can't have people from the audience just responding. This is on tape, and, you know,
I appreciate that. So, through you, Mr. Chairman, I went over and saw the engineer. He's indicated that the snow storage area is not noted on the plan, so we will note it on the plan, as we will note the parking places.
And then just a final suggestion, because in newer developments, they have it, including one we'll see later this evening. A couple EV charging stations as a convenience to your customers, just a suggestion to make it a little bit better, but that's a suggestion.
Can we have some? You are? 10? Yes, he plans to add 10 stations.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. If there's no other questions from the board at this point, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak, either in favor or in opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to board discussion. I'm going to ask Mr. Sylvia, have you any concerns about this permit?
Yeah, excuse me, Jason Silva, Inspectional Services. So I do have a few questions through the board, if you could. It's not 100% clear on the display of vehicles. It looks like the whole front parking lot is labeled as vehicle display. So I don't know if there's a request from my office is to assign a value or a number or an expectation of the number of vehicles to be displayed, whether it's cars, whether it's motorcycles, and where those are to be placed, instead of all over the lawn or all over the front entryway or wherever it might be. There's nothing, so if you could opine on that. And then any incidental uses that they would envision. So there is obviously some maintenance repairs, but sometimes we see things like U-Hauls or other things that might be planned that are incidental uses. If there are any incidental uses, if they could please just kind of speak to those that are planned on the site as well. And then again, whether it's a vehicle, cars, or motorcycles, or both, just to make sure that there's not any confusion from anyone that reads or understands the decision. So that's what I have.
Okay. Would you like to address those concerns, please?
If I could have one moment and then speak with the engineer, and then I'll make sure it's on tape here. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. What we're going to do is take a 5-minute recess at this point. Go right ahead. We're back in session. We were discussing some of the building inspector's concerns. Please opine.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to have that brief recess, Mr. Chairman, so I could speak with the team. So, in terms of display, all of that area in front, anything that isn't marked otherwise is proposed to be an area for display, either of motorcycles or cars. So, if they're unmarked, they're proposed for display. Others are actually marked, customer parking, they have actual labels in them. Those that aren't are for display. Second question was, are we going to have accessories, U-Haul? No. No accessories are being requested, and we can live with that as a condition of the permit. And the third question, yeah, it was to get clarity, is the display vehicles, cars? It's either motorcycles or cars.
Does that answer your concerns, Jason?
It does speak to it. The only thing is that there is no numerical number that's been discussed. And so when you look at that parking lot, there's clearly a number of spaces that's required per the zoning bylaw. And those spaces, many times, are not discounted by the display. So if, as an example, they're required to have 100 spaces, and they use 25 of those spaces to display vehicles, they're now technically 75 spaces deficient from the bylaw. So I just point out that normally it's not a major concern in these dealerships, but there is consistently a position where the dealerships overrun at times the location with vehicles either on deliveries, and then they end up either on sidewalks on display, on grassy areas on display, filling every single customer parking space, and then we have people parking in the streets and things like that. So it's nice to have a number that maybe they're only going to use 50% of their parking spaces for display vehicles, which would amount to X number of vehicles, so that when we go out to the site, if we do get any complaints, we have something we can default to on what's reasonable and what the board would expect. So that's the only reason I bring those kind of things to the attention, because I want, like every business, we want them to do well, but we also don't want the complaints about them, like some places that use storage of materials. Once they put one pallet, the pallets continue to creep, and the same thing's true
Really?
with car dealerships. So a limit's nice to have.
Would you like to determine that number? Because we're getting hit with this right now, and
No, I understand. I guess I would turn to the applicant and ask what they consider reasonable, and base that argument on what they consider reasonable, because again, this is consistently, a debate, right? They have their spaces, they may be open, they may not. We're not concerned about the use of those spaces until the complaints arise, and they do arise because the car dealers are set on selling cars and filling those spaces with as many vehicles to give you as many options as you can choose from. And so sometimes those are at the at the detriment to the required parking spaces.
if it was an arbitrary number, if we were to set a number tonight at a percentage, would that work? And what would you consider a reasonable percentage?
I think that it's probably appropriate to designate customer parking areas that may not be used, specifically may not be used for display vehicles. And
Okay,
display areas that can be used for display or customer parking, but that in no case would those specific spaces that would remain to be used for display, so that these situations wouldn't. So obviously, there's likely to be customer needs close to the building. Customers are going to want to park areas like that. So again, I'd leave it to their site engineer to distinguish which ones are most appropriate. But again, some spaces should be dedicated not to be used for display purposes, and to allow for customer use. The
Okay.
handicapped individual has to park halfway across the parking lot because the local spaces are filled up and there's display areas that are filled up that are closed. We're gonna get complaints.
So if I may respond, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
So the handicap areas, as required by statute, are marked on the plan, and they're up close to the building. And they're required, and that's a regulation that Mr. Ham has always taken very seriously. The customer parking areas, most of those are labeled customer parking. Any areas that are needed for customer parking, we will label as customer parking, and we're amenable to meet the inspector's concern by indicating that anything marked on the plan, either handicap parking or customer parking that's needed under the zoning bylaw for those two purposes, cannot be used for display. And you could put that right in the decision, and I think that goes right to the heart of his concern.
That covers that
Well, I think-
pretty well. Yes, sir?
So it has, handicapped are 8 feet.
Yes, but actually, no, they're 8 plus 5.
Okay.
The space itself is 8 feet, but then there's 5 feet of entrance and exit for wheelchair
Okay.
ramps and stuff like that.
Right.
So okay. And I understand what Jason's saying, that makes sense. But isn't the starting point to revamp this and say how many spaces there are, if they're gonna have to make them bigger? At this point, we don't even know how many spaces they end up with. Oh, you just wanna go with the percentage, is that what you're saying?
What
I don't
I'm
think it
sa-
should be our call, but, you know.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, every single one of these projects, we end up with a vast thing of asphalt that never gets used. So, to the point of how many spaces, that's a damn good question.
Well, in this case, it sounds like a lot of them are gonna use for autos, and I'm not the only one here that didn't know anything about autos from what I read in the publications. I mean, it looked at it, but it didn't say that, you know, so I think we ought to know how many spaces there will be.
Yes, sir.
So normally, for our cases, we require the engineering department to always sign off and say partially completed, to be completed. And what the condition from the planning board, it switched the onus on us to Jason. And I want to ask Jason, is he comfortable with that? If you look at that condition 2 on the planning board, that's unusual on what we've seen. It's on page 224. So normally, we get the planning board report, and it's final, it says that it's completed, or partially satisfied, or to be satisfied upon issuing of the building permit. But here we have language, and I don't know if it's there because we're only looking for a finding as compared to a special permit or like a 40B.
That's a good question.
So this is
It's-
different, and I'm okay with this personally, but I want to make sure that is Jason okay with, because now it's changed from us being the deciding, the judicial, quasi-judicial decision maker to it being to Jason, which now has shifted the burden of responsibility.
Yeah, and we don't like doing that because,
Well, we like to find out, make sure the building department, the building department's okay with everything. And I'm okay with the transition. I just want to make sure that this is the first I've seen it. And so I think it's a double question. One, is the board okay with the transition? And 2, is Jason okay with the
well,
transition?
let's poll the board first. You heard the question, Pete, what do you think?
I think that they need to come back anyway, because they're plan adjustments, and as I think Ed or someone pointed out, we usually look for the DPW response, so,
But that's for a special permit, and this is not a special permit.
but it,
This is just
So
to
it's a
satisfy a condition.
So it's a different level of analysis.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So, again, Peter, what do you think? Good.
Well, I certainly want to see the parking,
Mhm.
as far as everything goes.
And if we're continuing it anyways to see the parking, the DPW may have, this may become moot anyways, because the DPW may respond by that time.
Have they even been asked to? Jason?
There is a comment letter from the Town Engineering Department dated July 23rd, 2025. I believe that's the last comments from the Engineering Department.
Could you tell me that page number, Jason?
So on the Planning Board's advisory report, on page 2, it does make reference to that Town Engineer Department comment. I don't have that Engineering Department comment in front of me.
Page 212. Get that? Page 212.
And then by reference, the number 2 in their comments is that the fire department had no objections, but the town engineer had a comment letter on the 23rd.
First review.
and Atlantic Engineering responded to the DPW letter later in July, but the DPW has not closed the loop on the DPW comments. However, the drawings were updated based on the DPW letter. So if you look at the revision dates on the most recent plans, they all were updated on July 30th. But still, it would be nice to see the DPW do their normal response to the engineer.
Mm-hmm, and that's on page 225?
That's Atlantic's response.
That's Atlantic's response?
Yes.
Understood, we received.
July 31st.
Can I ask you a question, Madam
Yes,
Gentleman? Looking at-
yes, please.
Going back to the parking spaces, how many employees do you expect every day? Seems like you got a lot of parking spaces for employees and customers. You just direct it through him.
Mr. Lamb?
Good evening, Joe Laham. Sorry, I was talking from the background.
No
there.
problem.
There's probably 15 employees, but the problem is zoning requires certain amounts of parking. The plan that we have was a modification. Unfortunately, some of those spaces were labeled 9 by 18. We will correct those. When we do that, it's going to reduce the total spaces that we have no matter what.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with 10 by 18. Actually, I like it because you can open your doors up and everything's much better that way. So we'll correct that. But, I mean, 15 or 18 employees is the most we would have there. But we have to have all those other spaces. As far as,
Yeah, I was
how
just
many-
looking for clarification, that's all.
as far as how many spaces for facilities and people and all that stuff, whatever it is, we'll adhere to it. It's not a problem.
In looking, Mr. Chairman, at the DPW Engineering Division memo dated July 23rd, 2025, there is a section called Transportation Comments, and the only parking comments they have are regarding the handicap spaces, and the pavement markings are recommended to be reflective and durable, and then they get to signage. They don't get into any other commentary with respect to how they're listed or marked or going to be used, or the number of them, or... That's probably because the paid parking lot already exists, as one gentleman on your board indicated, and we're just going to cut out from that parking lot where the building is. But we will now restripe, obviously, in accordance with the board's anticipated condition that the spaces will meet your requirements in terms of size.
Okay, any other comments from board members? And Jason, you're set, we're gonna have them come back with an up-to-date plan with everything. Is there any information that you specifically want them to put on there?
So one thing I don't know that there's information, but I'm just trying to understand a little better. On their analysis, parking analysis, they show, 2 columns, required and provided. They indicate 91.4 spaces are required and that they provide 100 spaces. They also indicate that there's 30 spaces required for the service bays, and they provide 30 spaces for those, totaling out to 130 spaces they create, with 119 that are required, I guess, according to the bylaw. But then when we look down below, we also see that there was some existing parking spaces, and it says that there's 5 handicap spaces, 377 total spaces on the site, including 247 vehicle display spaces. So my question is what's the total parking spaces that's on that site? Is it 130 plus the 247? And I can't quite, I don't quite understand. And if that's the case, then clearly 247 vehicle display areas and 130 spaces.
That's a warehouse.
That's plenty of spaces, like not a concern, but if it's only 130 and then they have some allocation of display areas, display vehicles, and there happens to be 60 or 70 display vehicles on site, then that substantially reduces the ratio of parking available for others. So that's, I'm just trying to provide, so that I don't give you bad advice and misunderstand their calculations. That's the only thing I don't quite understand.
Okay,
May I speak to that?
yes.
So Benjamin King, the site engineer here. I know that parking requirement table might be a little confusing. Reading it myself again, it is a little tricky, but we took the required spaces on the bylaw and we ended up with 119 spaces that were required. From that 119, we provided 130 customer and employee spaces. And those are the ones that are marked in that magenta color on the presentation plan there. Again, these are all existing parking spaces that are on site. Where the only parking spaces that are being proposed that aren't there currently would be those handicap spaces. The whole lot is a parking lot right now and was designed to actually accommodate a dealership. So everything that's on there is already pre-existing, hence the variation in the sizes ranging from 9 to 10. We have a total of 377 spaces on site, and 247 of those are going to be, are demarcated on this plan in the blue as vehicle display spaces.
To the board, that's exactly what I was trying to get to figure out how many display vehicles would be on site.
You should have just asked the
247.
simple question. Diplomacy sometimes is not the strong point. You're all set. And you're all set when they come back with a, I hope that we're probably going to continue this to get all the information on paper that we need, both from the engineering department, and I'm going to ask you to work closely with Jason to make sure that the blueprint is the way that he has deemed it should be.
Okay, we're on a tough schedule with, we've got a contractor ready to go. The plans have been on file for about 40 days. We haven't heard any of these questions. It's kind of tough to come in here and hear this tonight.
This is the first time we're seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I appreciate that. It sounds as if all of the labeling that Jason was looking for is in fact done. The designations are done. They're on the plan, they're colored out. The number of spaces meets the requirement. One thing we don't meet is the 10 by 18s, and so we've got to do that and redo that. Is there any way that could be a condition, since we clearly have more spaces than we need, and those spaces are only in the display area that have that problem, not the new spaces we've created. Those are all conforming.
Aren't the spaces gonna change?
Yeah, but that's 10 by 18 spaces, period, because display area for this dealer, and then 10 years from now, there might be a different dealer. And then we're sitting here going through this all again, so, no. But to his point, if you make it a condition, I'm okay with that.
We could do it in an informal.
Yes. So that they can go ahead and start, as long as,
Does that allow them to start if you do it in informal?
Yeah, because we passed it.
because again,
We
this
approve it. It's approved.
this is not a special permit now.
Yeah, this is not a special permit.
This is a
It's simply a
modification.
finding.
Well, it's a messed up drawing, what can I tell you? I mean, what do you want from me? It's not what we want. Shut up.
Damn thing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could point out, not to delay the applicant in any way, but the finding is very specific in case 3182 to speak to site conditions, and that the plans demonstrated are in substantial compliance with the original site plans. So if the board were to take a vote, the vote would be, is this plan as demonstrated in substantial compliance or not? And if the board doesn't feel so, then I believe that they should return with those revisions. You can't condition, it has to be, the decision has to be made one way or another, at least in my opinion.
And we still haven't answered the issue about the engineering not commenting, not giving their return comment to Atlantic's original, and whether Jason's okay with doing that, and whether the board's okay. And so I understand not continuing, but what if we continue it and we still don't have the engineering department's response? It's always a concern. Did we just waste everyone's time? So I'd first like to ask Jay, are we okay asking Jason if he's all right with making the decision about item number 2?
Mhm.
When was this filed and what's the time?
Is your concern, Mr. Conroy, the language of the planning board recommendation in terms of the condition?
Yes. So
And-
normally,
and, having the final decision maker on that being the building commissioner?
yeah, so normally what happens is we don't make a decision until all the comments by the building department has been satisfied, partially satisfied, or to be satisfied at closing, or upon issuing a building, and so, a building permit. So this time this is the first time I've seen it, where we don't have the building department's response, and because the planning board, and so we're at a spot here where we don't have the response, and so we've shifted the responsibility from us saying, all right, we're okay with the response by the building department, from us to Jason.
But they have recommended that the plans shall be revised to substantially address all applicable comments by the town engineering and the fire department.
To the satisfaction of Jason.
Right.
So do you understand my concern? Do you understand my theory, Attorney Ford?
Yes, I believe that usually that the board is the arbiter of that, is what you're
Yes.
saying. because those comments have become final.
And
But
it's
that's in a
going to
special
stay
permit
that
setting.
way. The board is going to maintain that because we have always done that. When it comes to discretion, the building department has always come right back to us. And this is in that realm, I would believe. Peter, what do you have to say?
I don't disagree.
Okay, Michael?
I agree with Jason. You know, I mean, really, when you find it, how are we gonna find that it complies with it when it's not completed? I do have a question though, because I was looking at the clocked-in decision, but it's actually just shows the other two decisions. When did they file for this? How are we doing on time? Is gonna need a waiver or? I couldn't,
I'm not sure because it isn't a special permit, it's
Yeah.
a
Right.
modification, so I don't have the time calendar on it.
okay.
Right, that's right.
See, this is a bit of a hybrid, and I don't think it fits into any of the constructive grant provisions
Yeah.
of the bylaw.
No,
And we're not here looking for any constructive grants.
Yeah,
We just want to move forward, so.
And we would like to see you move forward, but it's so incomplete that we can't. Until you've completed the blueprints, until we've got all of the comments from the engineering department, because I don't want to put all of this burden, there's 5 of us and only 1 of him, and I don't want to put that burden on him. I
Okay.
want a collective thought process for this decision. And
I
it seems to me
appreciate
that the
that.
board feels that it's an incomplete filing at this point, and that once it's completed, and we'll rush it in as fast as we can, but it still has to be complete.
All right, so I just need some direction as to what it is that's deficient at this point.
Jason?
From what I heard earlier, the parking size is not appropriately sized, that they need 10-foot spaces, and that the plan would have to be adjusted accordingly to indicate those number of spaces. To clarify which number of spaces and which spaces are used exclusively for display vehicles,
That's done.
and indicate which spaces would not be used for display vehicals. I think that
The
was
latter's
part
been
of the
done, but the
discussion.
former has not.
Snow storage.
Is that the only thing?
And the snow storage.
And the
Snow
snow
storage.
storage.
So I've got written down the 10-foot parking spaces, the distinguishing which you did address, and also the snow storage.
Okay. So if we were to get our plans modified, Mr. Chair, could we bring them back at the next meeting?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What would, that, now you're gonna have to talk to the boss.
I appreciate that.
It should be easy.
The first Monday in September is a holiday, so the next meeting would be September 15th, of which we have 4 cases on that night already.
And they are?
Yeah, what kind?
They're on the bottom of your agenda.
Oh, yeah, that's right. September 15th.
I mean, this matter doesn't even call for a public hearing.
No, it calls for us to fit it in a busy night.
I had it somewhere in
If you scroll to page 1.
Yeah, all right, I got it. We don't need 2 fingers. There we go. So,
Those 4 cases don't look overly complicated.
No, and this one should be easy, all these coming back is.
Right.
Right.
I agree. I think we
So I
can fit
think
them
it could
in.
be the 15th.
is that okay with you, Denise? Okay, so we are gonna move this case to
September 15th.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't want to confuse things, but could I ask one more question?
You certainly, you can ask 100 more.
Signs,
Yes.
are they a part of this application? There was a statement in there that says signs would comply with the bylaw, but we see nothing much about signs.
Yeah, that's something we haven't talked about sign. Well, what are your plans for signage?
Whatever the bylaw says will apply for sign permits and meet the bylaw.
Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna come back on September 15th. All right, I await a motion.
Now, motion, we continue modification to case number 3182 to September 15th.
One second.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second, a motion by Michael and a second by Peter to continue this hearing to September 15th so that they can satisfy engineering concerns and blueprint necessities. All those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you,
very
Mr. Chairman. I
much.
appreciate your patience.
I'm sorry we
And those
couldn't
are the
get this
members.
done, but it is what it is.
It's a bit of a hybrid. I haven't seen one of these before. Thank you.
Thank you. The next case we're gonna do is 4179. And we don't need a legal, the legal notice has already been read. I just don't. Oh, no, this is the wall. This one, yes. We are gonna, this case is for a retaining wall, and it's case 4179 High Rock, Cranberry Crescent to Commerce Way. And I will ask the clerk to read the legal advertisement.
Thank you. Case number 4179. The Plymouth Zoning Board of Appeals on the zoning bylaw will hold a public hearing in the Great Hall, Town Hall, 26 Court Street, Plymouth, Mass. On Monday, August 18, 2025 at 6 p.m. to hear the petition of High Rock Cranberry Crescent requesting a special permit required per section 2032B2D4 to construct a retaining wall exceeding 12 feet height on the property of 2 Commerce Way shown as parcel 105,000,001,033 of the assessor's map dated January 1, 2024 in a GC zone. The petitioner or his or her representative or any other person interested in desiring to be heard on this request should appear at the time and place designated.
Thank you. Seated on this will be Mr. Leary, Mr. O'Reilly, Mr. Conroy, Mr. Connor, and myself. And representing will be,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Rob D'Ambroso, attorney at law with D'Ambroso Law here in Plymouth. And good evening, everyone. So, going to steal a little bit of my thunder from the next special permit, because I was going to set the stage for this one, but we're going in the other order. So we came before you on June 2nd with the, kind of similar to this, I think what the last Colony Place hybrid one was to satisfy certain conditions, and then one of the things you said was you'd like to, oh, please.
I will explain why we're doing this in this order. You can't build a building until you get the wall.
Right.
So you're gonna get the wall first.
Right, yep, spot on. So that was one of the things that you wanted to see in connection with the review of the plans for the site, so here we are. So we're back, we've got this, this wall engineered, Chris York, Greenman Peterson here at GPI, is our civil engineer. His team worked very hard to get this done in short order. I've also got Rob Kavanaugh, the Director of Construction for Energy North, with me here, and we'll run you through where we are with this retaining wall. So I think I can dispense with kind of this introduction, because you know why we're here. This is really ties into what the next special permit presentation will be. We're here relative to those outstanding conditions, and during the course of planning this site, following the planning board meeting in May, and then before we appeared before the ZBA, really shortly before we appeared, I think as you are aware, it was determined that the retaining wall to accommodate the drainage changes on the site was going to have to exceed 12 feet. So that's why we filed the special permit. Obviously, once you get above 12 feet, you need that special permit. So some features of the retaining wall that are noteworthy. Again, I know you all have a plan in your package, but it's roughly 305 linear feet. It wraps around the north perimeter of the property, kind of around the car wash tunnel and the lanes that lead into it. For safety, there's a guardrail and a chain link fence on top of the wall. It's going to be a prefab modular design, and again, this has been thoroughly vetted. There's some supplemental materials you saw in your package, one from not only a GPI been involved with the engineering, but Atlas, a geotechnical engineering firm, has a letter relative to, you know, suitability of the soil, load-bearing capacity, stormwater infiltration, safety, and stability. So this was well vetted by the consultants working on the project, the engineers working on the project, and by the DPW as well. So again, this is our site, and you can see it on our site plan. This one should look familiar to you. This pointer's a little bit finicky. I'm trying to, there it is. Okay, so this, you can see it on the plan, and again, this, nothing's changed from when we presented this to you in terms of location or layout. This is the same site plan that you saw back in June, but that is where the retaining wall is, just to give you your bearings. Here's that plan that you have in your package. And really, other than that, I'm just going to show you a rendering here of what it's going to look like approximately from the drainage area looking toward the core of the site. That landscaping will shield the wall there. This is a comparable wall just to give you a visual impression of what it would look like. And again, another kind of visual aid here. This is one that's also from Southern Mass here, Stoughton. So I figured I'd give you another visual image. Other than that, we can get into some technical details. The good news is that the DPW is satisfied. They had just a handful of minor comments that have been addressed, and hopefully we're in good shape here, but certainly happy to field any questions.
No, I had looked at it, went through all the plans, and, I mean, they're definitely thorough. I have no problems with it.
And I'm reading the engineering report, and they're all set. So, I will, have you any other at this point?
That's it.
Board members, any preliminary questions? Yes, Peter?
No.
Oh.
I just want to briefly say, I want to thank Jason for bringing up the point that when the basin's full and there'll be saturated soil, will that affect the structural ability of this wall? And a lot of the report studied the saturation and whether the soil changes, even if it's 4 feet deep, that could potentially erode behind it. Good questions, and I think the applicant, studied it long and hard to answer that question. So I'm okay with it as well.
All right. Have you anything else right at this?
No, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to open this to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak either in favor or in opposition? Don't laugh. It's the law. For you people that don't understand, there's two people in the audience, and they're both concerned about something else. Seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to board discussion. Jason, You're all set. You're all, Ed, you're all set. You're all set. Michael?
I'm just about to make a motion, so.
Well, I wished you would, because it's getting time to do that.
I would motion we approve case number 4179 with the one condition listed.
A and B.
Yeah.
I have a motion by Michael. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Mr. Leary and a second by Mr. O'Reilly to approve case number 4179 with the one condition that the planning board gave to us, which has an A and a B. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving along. We will now do case number 2946, which is, I don't know why it's listed as that number, but,
No, it's 4165.
and I've got 29.
2946 was the original.
Yes.
Permit from the, so it's 4165.
Oh, yeah, it is listed that way. It was listed the other way on one thing.
No, the 29th is the original. What's the page?
4165. Oh, what page number? Page 5. And ladies and gentlemen, we've said this before, but to clarify things, we all have these fancy things now, and we don't have a lot of paperwork, so one of us is real good with this, and another one is pretty good with it, and then they talk to me. And I'm not good with this at all, so when you hear us talking about page numbers and everything, it's set up, thank God she's smart enough, it's set up to have page numbers so that we can quickly get to the stuff that we used to have a pile of papers, but was all pretty well put together by each one of us.
We only have 257.
Yeah, so excuse us if we're a little slow on the uptake here. Yes, please.
Case number 4165, the Plymouth Zoning Board of Appeals on the zoning bylaw will hold a,
We already did that.
oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. No, that's the right one.
Yeah, but we already read
Oh,
it.
yeah,
in-
we already read it.
This is a continuance.
Oh, that's continuous, we don't need that.
And
Okay.
Denise, who was seated on this?
Buster, Ed, Mike, Kevin, Peter. You have that too. Yeah.
David, you can go home. Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Rob D'Ambroso, D'Ambroso Law in Plymouth. And just as with the last special permit application, I've got Rob Cavanaugh, Energy North's Director of Construction with me, and I've got Chris York of GPI, our civil engineer. So again, this is kind of old news at this point because we were before you 2 months ago, give or take. But, you know, we're here for site plan review, I guess as I'd call it, of the proposed gas station. That's part of that planned shopping center that includes the market basket and a number of other uses. Again, that master plan that brought forth that shopping center required ZBA approval of new structures, and that's why we are before you. So again, what that special permit, 1999 special permit called for was tell us who's going to be there, what are the buildings going to look like, you know, parking, design, et cetera. So we've been through all this, again, just to rehash a few things. We've got about a 2 1/3 acre large site. We've got a 1-story C-store, a convenience store with a coffee shop. You know, this has been an iterative process, so we've revised the plan subject to West Plymouth steering and planning board feedback and downsized things, so no longer have a drive-through. We've got a single tunnel car wash, and then we've got a fueling island with 12 fueling stations and a canopy. And again, this is at the corner of Commerce Way and Carver Road. I'll give you that visual again, just so you know where it is. I know you know, but that's it for the record. So again, in 2013, a similar project was approved. Just more recently here, again, we've been before the planning board now 4 times, and that was sort of that iterative process that I described to you. You know, they initially said, you got a lot going on here, and we downsized the amount of activity on the site. We altered the direction of traffic, improved the flow and safety, added some crosswalks, some pedestrian safety features, and reconfigured the site substantially. So again, took us quite a bit of work, but eventually got the planning board on board, I believe unanimously. Similarly, we were able to win over the West Plymouth Steering Committee. They didn't like the project at all last year, but then they gave us a unanimous recommendation this past spring because we addressed their concerns. And we've got the fire department on board too. So far, so good. Then we came into the ZBA buzzsaw in June. No, I kid, it wasn't that bad. But you guys wanted to see a few things and said we're not quite ready to vote it. And those 3 things, if I'm recalling correctly, were the retaining wall, which we just dispensed with at the last hearing 10 minutes ago. Again, as Chairman Maine said, without a retaining wall, you don't have a project, so there we go. DPW, we were pretty far along in June, but not quite there in terms of comments being satisfied. We've now got a memo that shows everything's been satisfied to their satisfaction, except for a handful of items that are to be satisfied prior to either a building permit or a certificate of occupancy, those kind of, you know, end of the process type permits. So typically that would be considered a fully compliant or satisfied memo. And then one of the things, which again is incorporated in the DPW memo, but there was concern about whether and how we complied with Plymouth's water balance program. The answer is you write a large check, and the DPW memo now makes specific reference to the dialogue that was held between Rob and his team and GPI and the water department. And they now agree that we are compliant. They've accepted the application and the calculation, which resulted in a fee of just over $100,000. That fee is to be paid prior to occupancy. So again, that's recorded or memorialized in the DPW memo. So we've addressed, again, what I thought the 3 key concerns were from the last hearing. I hope you'll agree. I can go back through the slides, but I think you know what the site's like. There's been very minimal tweaks to the grading and layout plans in July to address some DPW comments, but really the layout hasn't changed. And I think we've addressed the key concerns, but we're happy to hear any additional feedback, and we're here for your questions. Thank you.
Board members.
You have something first, go ahead first.
I have to think about what it was. No, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so, now,
I do have.
sorry to bring this on you now, but, you know, so when I was leaving here the other day on the last hearing and looking at this, one thing I am concerned about, and it would only take reverse in your pattern, is I actually don't like, okay, so you have a long drive going around for the car wash, to enter the car wash. My suggestion, the problem I have with that is when they're leaving there, especially in the wintertime, you now have the wet cars coming out this end, going in out to your entrance, in down to the set of traffic lights. And of course, you know, as we all know, you go to the ones that are everywhere else right now, and it does. It's gonna be wet through that whole area, which I can see in the wintertime might be an issue. So I was wondering if we couldn't reverse it, put the change count, whatever you have, at the entrance of it, at this end, and reverse it so they're leaving out that long drive, keeping the water on your property, not the intersection, and not the entrance. I mean, you know, it might save you guys from lawsuits, you know what I mean? Because I can see that, or to me, it seems like an issue unless
So I think maybe Mr. Kavanaugh has something to say. We'll say we initially did have the site reversed and no one liked it that way, so we made it this way. But go ahead, Rob, if you want.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the tunnel car wash actually, within the confines, only runs to 100 feet. So there's about 20 feet of drying space. We have 9 blowers in that space. And then in the concrete slab at the rear is radiant heat in the ground. So between the two of them, we're pretty comfortable that those vehicles.
But it doesn't dry the underneath the vehicle. I mean, like, because I take mine in the car wash all the time. Even up Kingston, where they do wipe it down. We're leaving the road. It's got a wet surface on it, leaving there quite a bit. So that, to me, is my only concern. I don't know whether the rest of the board agrees with me or not, but to me, it is a concern that as soon as you come out, you're taking a left-hand turn and a right, bring it right to the intersection, you know? That's my only concern.
Not to disagree, but my only concern if they do that is with the queuing. Of if there's, more than a couple of cars waiting to get into the, car wash, where are they gonna go?
Well, if I can add something there, Michael? I know I'd find this note eventually. I said, I wrote myself a note, I'm troubled with comment 1 on the transportation comments. And I think that's the one that talks about the crazy queuing late in the day or on Saturdays, when the traffic could be the most, which prompted me to ask myself, was there any kind of a traffic study there, done there? There was. I don't think we have such a thing, do we? Oh, maybe I missed it. Oh, no, not, oh,
Here's transportation.
it's okay. All right, that's fine.
There was, Peter, and there were, the level of service, Ds and Bs. And
Well, they said
Fs.
level of service F on
Yeah.
this. I guess you can't get too much worse than that, I don't think. And I'm just thinking about that based on what you were saying, Michael, if they're stacked up all around there and you can hardly get in the intake of this tripping, I don't know. There's a lot of crap on there for that site, that's for sure.
The intent is always to make sure that we get cars into the queuing lane, out of.
Would you identify
Short-
yourself,
Chris
please?
York from GPI.
What did you say again?
The intent is always to get cars off of the road and into the queuing lane. If we reversed the tunnel, there's no room for any queuing whatsoever.
Get off the site onto the queuing lane.
Correct, get off of the main roads into the queuing lane. So that's why we have the
You're
long,
talking about coming in?
Yeah, if they were
coming into the site.
You don't want to do it on the road.
Right, one in, yes.
Right. But that would be a problem, according to what I read, leaving late in the day when there's heavy traffic, possibly, or Saturday mornings. It claims you're queuing out into the street, or you could be.
I think that
So
might be
part-
on the original plan.
So part of our response to that was also, we added
Oh, don't tell me about a sign.
No.
no, not a sign.
No, we don't do, signs don't cut it.
Oh geez, what goes in, I just do.
I gotta find out what I was looking at here.
There we go. So the bottom right of the screen, we proposed, that would be painted, basically, painted square with no, to not block the intersection, so there's no, okay, if it is, if it's
That's what I
busy
said
there,
about a sign. Nobody pays any attention to these things. Come on,
it's supposed to, I do.
really.
You should.
Yeah. You can convince us that on Dunkin' Donuts on Route 44. Yeah. I mean, you would, I'd pay attention to it too, I agree with you, but people don't.
Shows what you want.
They didn't like.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
No,
Do you want to explain why this one
because he knows where it was good, and I don't know where we're going with that spot. I don't know if the rest of the board agrees either.
I need some convincing one way or another.
Oh, I could see, I mean, with my concern on the dripping, I know it'll get out there, but whether it's a problem or not, I'm not sure. I understand what Kevin brought up too, is queuing for that particular thing. I had heard you had it down the other side, and I was always wondering why they didn't leave it that way, but whatever. I don't know, it's up to the board where they want to go with it. I'm not gonna hang everything.
So I'm okay with the current direction of things. Because I'd rather have them queue for the car wash on site. I think that's a necessity, there's no option.
Oh, no, we don't want to.
Of course.
No.
So,
Absolutely
so I don't
not.
think that right there is to me, is that there is no option, it's gotta go this way. And my only concern last time, when looking at the larger issue, is when you go to leave, like as if you're facing it at Market Basket, you have to go right, no matter what. You can't, like, there's no area in between on the actual street to make a left to go into Market, so you gotta go way around, and that remains an issue for me. So like, so say you first go to the car wash, and then you want to go to Market Basket, it's not shown on this plan here. So you can't see what I'm talking about on this plan.
No, but I know the
You remember what I was
intersection.
talking about?
Yes.
And so that was my concern, because if you first go and get your car wash and your gas before Market Basket, to get into Market Basket,
You gotta go up and turn around.
you gotta go up and turn around. And for me, I don't think I'm going to Market Basket.
You're not gonna make the U-turn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go all around, I'm always rushing around.
Yeah.
So, but that's, so I think it's a design fail on the big picture of things, not being able to make the left out of the gas station to go to Market Basket, because you'd have to go around. But if that's not on the table, that's not on the table. If what's
Unfortunately, that's not our, we're
There's a divider.
Yeah.
And so there's, so that's,
either turn right out of our site on Commerce Way and turn around at the light, or you can turn left onto
I
Carver Road
understand,
during.
I understand how you presented. So that's my comment.
So was it turn around at the light? U-turn, you mean?
Well, you'd probably take a left at that intersection. I mean, again, I guess my only comment there is I appreciate and understand the comment, but whoever develops this site, whatever it's developed for, I mean, that's how this layout is. We can't alter the layout of Commerce Way. It's a divided road, so, I mean, unless you just didn't like this site being developed, there's nothing we or anyone else could do about the fact that you can't take a left if you're headed north.
So-
if you're exiting north.
Oh, I'm sorry. So your response to this, I finally found that transportation comment that says there's not enough adequate space for the vehicles queue within the site without the possibility of blocking the entrance to the car wash or drive or the access aisles. And the fix, because of no other fix, is a sign that says don't block it. So what do you do when you show up there and now you get a sign in front of you that says don't block it? Where do you go then?
I mean, well,
I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, Mr. Connor, again, it's a valid, I don't disagree with your comment. I guess what I would offer is you've got 144 feet here. I mean, that's like a 25-foot car stack. DPW says, could be an issue. That would be a monumental amount of car wash traffic.
144 feet.
That's the length of the queue, yeah.
Is, in a car is 16 feet or something? 20 feet?
Yeah, 16 to 20.
So,
Pickup would be 19.
and how many cars did you say?
Well, didn't you?
I was guesstimating that like 20, 25 cars you could stack.
20
Well, you
cars?
also-
Well, you widen out there.
You have 2 lanes here.
2 lanes, so you have 2 rows of cars.
So
three
144, and then maybe double that stretch to give you 170 thereabouts, if you wanted to count this stretch double. I mean, Chris might be able to estimate it better than me, but, it's a pretty good-sized queue. I mean, it runs almost the whole length of the site there.
We're talking about coming out, right?
Well, I'm talking about coming in, right? So the concern that the DPW had, I think, was if you've got a monumental amount of cars that want to use the car wash, what they don't want to see is this way jammed up with people trying to take a right into the site, right? But that would mean you'd have to fill this entire queue and these double lanes, which, again, I mean,
Well-
I can't tell you it couldn't happen.
All I wanted to say is, the queue is talking about leaving,
Or traffic exiting.
not talking about driving in there. You're talking about stacking them on both sides of the road
Oh,
there.
okay, no, you're right, Mr. Connor, yeah, traffic exiting during weekday
Not as stupid
afternoons.
as I thought.
So they're worried about queuing within the site and blocking people from circulating internal to the site?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just, it's just,
Mr. O'Reilly.
I actually had a question, but I saw it on the map. I was just concerned about where the left-hand turn lane starts when you're heading east. So it does actually start on the bottom entrance. So if you were to Ed's point, if you were to come, you did your car wash first and you came out on the Carver Road, you would, and wanted to go to Market Basket, you'd have to go into the left-hand turn lane and then get back in. But the left-hand turn lane does extend all the way down to the entrance, if I read the plans correctly. Is that right? Okay, thank you.
I just had one question.
Yes.
And what, there's on Carver Road, there's another curb cut, right? That you're gonna use for construction or whatever?
Correct. Existing curb cut that's there now.
And you can't use that for leaving.
It would be too close to the intersection, I think, right?
Is that what it is?
Which one do you?
Well, let's go to the existing conditions plan. Let's take a look here. So, does this show our curb cuts? It's hard to see on the screen.
It does where the crosswalk is.
Yeah. So maybe you can highlight one. So this is the current site.
The existing curb cut on Carver Road is right here, which we're reusing.
So there's your curb cut right there, going on to Carver, and there's the one on
Okay.
Commerce, but that's only right hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right,
And you
okay.
go either way here.
Yeah, on Commerce Way, it's
Okay.
right in,
I
right
was
out.
thinking that,
Okay.
said it was just for
And on
construction.
Carver Road,
Okay,
it's full access.
Got it. Thank you.
good.
I totally agree with all of the comments made about being troubled by inability to take a left-hand turn, but as the attorney just pointed out, that's been the problem all along. Whatever you put here, because of the divided highway, have to take a road right only. I'm going to talk about a couple other things. One, this large retaining wall and it extends into the drainage easement by about 2/3. And so my first question is it's one of the conditions the DPW had in there, but how hard is it to legally change the boundaries for that and get that recorded? I mean, I saw that was a condition. Is that a long process or not? Because anyway, it's a condition of, you're modifying the drainage easement in a dramatic way.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Mr. Peck. So it's simply a matter, typically you would just append a sketch to an easement that defines the drainage area. So, I mean, it's a couple hours of drafting, but it's not
Okay,
a-
so it
not a-
doesn't have to go to town hall or the select board or any, more complicated, changing of boundaries and things.
Yeah, no, I think the grantor would be the project owner, so I don't even think the town countersigns an easement. They could opt not to use it, but it's a benefit, it's not an obligation of the town.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask just about timing of correcting an easement. So the second thing is, what is the maintenance requirement for that underground equipment to handle drainage? Does that need to be cleaned out periodically, or is it self-flushing?
No,
Because at some point, it may get clogged with sand, and then it won't work anymore. So what happens when
Well-
it gets clogged?
What I can tell you is, I don't know the answer to that question, but what I can tell you is that any piece of equipment that we have on site that needs to be maintained, our maintenance department, in-house maintenance department, sets up a schedule, and we hire the appropriate professional to handle it.
Yeah, 'cause I'm
Same with
just-
the grease traps, the water oil separators, I mean, all that stuff is handled on a semi-annual or annual basis
Yeah, 'cause
according
I'm
to the
just afraid,
manufacturer's recommendations.
It'll fill up with sand, and then the water's just going to overflow.
Oh, understood, yeah, no,
But-
I mean,
So the third suggestion was, because that might happen, do you have a scupper, or do you have some overflow if it does fill up? And it would, a scupper, that kind of roof scupper that would at least direct the water into the drainage swale instead of just sitting on the land. I'm just curious.
So I mean, again, from a layperson standpoint, and Chris York might be able to speak to it, but I think that's part of what the DPW has commented on in their comment letter, right, Chris? I mean,
Yeah, so we prepared an O&M manual, so these catch basins are meant to be cleaned out 2 to 4 times per year, shoveled out. Same thing with the underground infiltration system is, there's inspection ports at each corner, so they can go in, they can check it, they can clean out the tops of the system itself, so as long as it's maintained, it's always gonna, it's gonna work.
Okay,
It's the
I
job
just-
of the applicant and the owner to clean it,
Yep.
and.
And
that's why
then my
we tell
final
them to-
question from notes from the June meeting is signage. I had a note that they might need a sign permit as well, which you're not asking for today, but you'll be coming in for a sign permit?
that is correct. So we have our sign company, who I believe has already been rejected. We got a copy of the letter. So I believe their next steps is to come in front of this board here
Okay.
with, and it's a complete sign package. I think it was discussed that we may be good for the building, but because we're looking for MID signs with the fueling prices and everything else, that requires a special permit. So we're just gonna lump it all together in one full
Okay.
package for building, car wash, and the MID fuel signs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other board questions? Jason? I await the board's pleasure. Would you like to
Yeah.
discuss anything else?
Well, okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve, but, okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve case number 4165 with the 7 conditions listed. But also, I want to put a condition on there that the car wash wouldn't be open till after the booster pumps put in for the town.
Okay.
You could build it, but
May I just interject? Do you happen to know, Mr. Lee, what the timing is of that booster pump? Just curious how that might affect opening and,
well, they're gonna start it right after Avalon files their permit. I assume that's gonna be pretty quick. Jason, do you know anything about that now? I mean, I have a concern with the 8,000 gallons a day. And we're not allowing, Avalon to open till it's connected, so.
In operation. I have a motion by Michael. Is there a second? I guess
I'll second that, but I have a follow-up question.
we'll go right ahead.
Okay. So Jason, the moratorium that's in place doesn't apply to this, based on, Michael, what you're
No.
asking?
No, the condition I want to put on it would be that they can build a car wash, but it can't be open till the
Booster pump is
booster pump is operational, because we've been, putting that condition on Avalon, everybody else. This is an 8,000 gallon a day unit. I don't care about the store can open. I mean, but the actual car wash, 8,000 gallons a day on a system that's, yeah, has issues.
Well, what are they paying, they're paying $100,000 to the town.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a separate,
No,
that's a
no,
whole separate.
I was going to interject, just for Mr. Conrose, I think the purpose of that water balance program is to make sure that whatever you're using either doesn't overburden the system or you pay for burdening the system.
Well, let's face it, they're trying to get everybody to pay for the new well.
Oh, but the
Right,
town-
so again,
But, I mean, Claremont's putting in this pump because this water situation out there is there, and they're putting that in. We didn't give that permit out till they would do that. Again, I don't know, it's up to the board, but
No, I agree with you.
I think it's pretty crummy of the town to take $100,000 from the applicant and say you can't open up your water.
well, they can once.
They
the
can,
booster
once
pumps-
there's enough
But I
water
know,
to
but-
give them.
I know, but I think that the town wants it both ways here. I think it's
The
pretty.
only problem with the water, this water situation is, it is a serious issue there, only to the point that if you have 3 wells supplying that area, the North Plymouth well supplies 1.7 million gallons, the other 2 only supply 0.5. But if that main pump goes down from 4 to 8 o'clock at night, there isn't enough water pressure, if that goes down.
I understand,
Well, the problem is,
but we can't be asking for, you can't say, yes, we have a serious water problem. But what the town's saying here, we'll disregard that if you come up with $108,000.
Well, let me ask
Right?
you a question, Ed. Irregardless
Like the pond.
of the $100,000, if we haven't got the water, then why should we let them open? If we haven't got the
So
water,
I don't
period.
think we should have them open until we have the water, and we shouldn't charge them $100,000.
Well, that's not our decision, the
Well,
100 grand.
But,
Can
Mr.
I-
Chairman, the moratorium has been lifted, is my understanding. I
Well,
mean,
that gets back to my original question is,
there's not a moratorium.
my understanding was the moratorium's listed in the water division is signed off on the water balance program, so I.
Right, they
I
wouldn't
have
have
a
accepted.
problem, and I understand the problem out there, but I have a problem stepping on what the water water department's already approved. You know what I'm saying?
They haven't paid it yet,
But they have to.
prior to occupancy.
But, and again, I'm not saying they can't do it. What I'm saying though is, okay, they're doing the same thing they did with the parking situation, you could, downtown. If you give us, the percentage, $1,200.
Right.
You don't have to have parking. Well, I'm looking at a problem is, okay, it doesn't matter unless that pump goes down, but if that main pump goes down, we got a problem. And so I don't feel comfortable putting an 8,000 gallon a day car wash on that problem, because God forbid, a situation happens and they got low water pressure and the sprinklers don't work in some of these buildings over there. How many 4-story buildings we got? I just don't feel comfortable with the water situation. Do I think it's right we're doing $100,000? No, but
Maybe we put it that the applicant doesn't have to pay the $100,000 until that pump is up and running. So that they can have the interest, they can use their money of the $100,000 in the meantime.
I mean,
I don't think we can
I don't think we
legally
can
do
change
that.
that.
may I
That's
just,
outside of our
that's the water,
jurisdiction.
that would be the selectmen, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, may I address the board on this issue? Because before you bring it to vote, I think this is very significant. I mean, and again, just leaving the politics out of it, I get asked occasionally, how can Plymouth be more business-friendly? What can we do to encourage commercial development? Curveballs like this, I mean, on June 2nd, we got our marching orders pretty clearly, and the water feedback, apart from what the DPW had given us, was file your water balance application and make the water department happy. So again, 8 weeks, 10 weeks later to get hit with, well, we don't think you should open until the pump, which
No,
may never
actually,
happen.
Rob, you're wrong. I did bring that up
Yes, you
last
did.
thing. And I did say that I didn't want it. And actually, one of the engineers or somebody said, well, it's gonna take us over a year to build this, so most likely there wouldn't be an issue. So it was brought up.
Okay.
I'm not bringing it up tonight for the first time.
So, you know, they're supposed to develop a site and build a car wash that they don't know when or if they'll ever be able to operate it? I mean,
Oh, they'd be able to operate it when they, as soon as the booster pumps.
well, we've been talking about booster pump for years.
Well, Claremont
I mean, we
can't.
talked about booster pump for years. There's no guarantee that ever happens, Mr.
There's,
Leary.
there's a separate resolve to this. Drill a well.
No, not even.
That's not a
Hey,
reasonable.
So in reality, you know, we can't do anything about what the town is charging for money. That's way, way out of our jurisdiction. All we can do is make sure that we reasonably supply water to that section of town. Michael brings up a very good scenario that is scary, and we don't want.
But wouldn't the water department have made that determination if they thought this was a
They
safety
made that
issue?
determination on financial basis, I'm pretty sure, not on water necessity, but
Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they made it on Claremont.
Yes.
That's when this water problem came up. They did the peer review. And again, it's not,
Claremont's
their
using
normal
100.
water doesn't matter. If everything's running normally, they can supply it. The problem is if the main pump goes down, not two pumps, one pump, that pump goes down, the other two can't supply enough water. And that to me is an issue. Now, I understand, but I'm also saying that we don't have a way to fill that system, so.
So,
I understand the concern, but I still have to go back to whether the water department is satisfied with it or not. I can't tell them what to do.
Exactly.
And I always rely on professional staff to, you know, give us guidance here, and I have a problem going against them, but I do understand your concerns. I have a problem not going along with our professionals have told us.
Well, I'm just reading that new comment. It says the Water Division is in agreement with the anticipated mitigation. That's
Well,
what-
mitigation, anticipated mitigation, right, meaning the booster pump.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm just reading that to you now.
Can I say something quickly?
Yes.
We were told by Mr. Gordon that we were allowed to tie into the water now.
Well, I don't care, if the board doesn't want it, I won't, we can leave that condition out, whatever.
Let's poll the board. Do you want that condition in there or not?
Michael's condition? I don't know. I just see that word
Well-
anticipated mitigation. It makes me a little nervous, okay, but,
It all makes me nervous.
yeah.
But-
So Michael, you're in favor of the project.
Oh, yeah.
You're in favor of them opening the store and everything, but
Right.
you're just thinking prior to the
Prior to that
operation
boost-
of the car wash, that booster needs to be all set.
And I'll tell you, I'm not
Is that what
pushing
you're
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I'm saying basically that it makes me nervous to put an 8,000 gallon car wash on there when we have a situation that could be an actual problem. I mean, not saying it will be, that pump has to go down for it to be a problem. But if that one pump, not two, goes down, you might have a problem, you know? So I guess if they're paying 100 grand, I don't know, but go ahead. The rest of you, I'll go with
That's a
what
heck of a
everybody
fee.
thinks.
I know what Kevin thinks. Ed?
That's quite a fee.
So I think, I agree with Kevin. We have the water department said that they can tie in now if you pay 100,000. And I think we should rely on the professionals like Mr. Gould and not this board. And I think we're stepping into areas that we shouldn't be going in. You know, if Mr. Gould and the town says that you can tie in now, you're gonna pay this money, I think we should rely on it. And on a side note, the fact that what they did with parking in downtown, you know, with how, that one brewery,
Second Wind.
Brewery,
Second
Second
Wind.
Wind, how we stunted that growth for 2 years. We're supposed to be pro-business. You know, what we did to that business.
Well,
And then here
we're
we,
getting off.
okay, so we're gonna tell these guys, oh yeah, pay the 104, but the hell with your 104. Us as a board is gonna say, oh, we also think that we're gonna wait till, have the car wash operational until we have this mitigation worked out. I think we're totally overstepping it. We should rely on our Mr. Gould.
Okay.
So that's my point.
Well, then I'll amend the motion to just the 7 conditions. Whatever, I mean,
Okay. We have a motion for case number 4165 to approve case 4165 with the 7 conditions. All those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Who was the second on that, Kevin?
Excuse me,
Was Kevin the second?
who's second?
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. Is that Kevin?
Kevin?
Kevin. Yeah.
that's it, right?
Denise, can I ask you a technical issue when we're done with this about my computer?
See, ladies and gentlemen, I think that pretty much concludes our business for this evening. I await a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? It is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.